giving vital information on wind strength and direction through the various heights right down to sea level. These reports came via an ocean-going yacht, equipped with the most sophisticated meteorological equipment and radio as the vessel cruised off Haima, on the coast of the United Arab Emirates. The data was rapidly fed into the navigator's computer. Seconds later, he was able to tell the pilot the precise points at which they should release their load. Exactly 25,000 feet. First stick 15 miles behind target. Second stick 2 points to starboard. Third stick 4 points port. The pilot acknowledged, levelled out at 25,000 feet, and repeated the instructions to the jump master in the cargo bay who, like the 20 other men in the cargo bay, wore a woolen helmet, goggles, and an oxygen mask. A throat mic carried his query to the pilot. "How long, skipper?" 5 minutes. Opening cargo doors now." There was a whine of hydraulics as the doors slid back and the loading bay went down like a drawbridge. At 25,000 feet, dawn had already broken, the pink, pearly light visible behind them. Below there was still darkness, while at the Hercules' altitude it was freezing cold in the thin air. Every man in the cargo bay had any bare flesh covered against frostbite. The jump master gave a signal, and the 20 men who sat facing inward on the hard metal benches stood up. They were dressed in black jumpsuits, boots, gloves, helmets, and the oxygen masks and goggles, together with an assortment of weaponry including AK-47 Kalashnikovs, Galil automatic assault rifles, and Scorpion submachine guns, grenades, and in 2 cases clumsy grenade launchers, all firmly clamped onto black webbing covering their chests. Above them, running the length of the cargo bay, what looked like huge black bats hung from oiled tracks which ended 20 feet short of the cargo ramp. The men now formed a line under these sinister shapes, which were large hang gliders, unpowered and with near-rigid wings made of strengthened canvas, impregnated with a high-powered, long-lasting solution of de-icing fluid. From each set of wings hung a light alloy framework onto which each man now strapped himself using a harness specially designed with a quick-release lock, similar to those used on parachutes. The harnesses had been adjusted before takeoff and allowed for interchangeable hanging and sitting positions on the light frameworks. These men had rehearsed and practiced with the craft over deserts and lonely tracts of land in all kinds and conditions of weather. They were a hand-picked and well-trained band who could, after their 6 months of hard testing, launch themselves from heights of 25,000 feet and spiral down to land within a carefully marked and prescribed area. The cargo bay was filled with noise, the clamour of the engines and the rush of air filtering back through the open doors. Instructions were reduced to hand signals, and the jump master banged his right palm flat on his chest, then lifted both hands, spreading the fingers wide. 10, then another 10, followed by 5. The men standing in the framework of their hang gliders bent their heads to the small altimeters attached to their right wrists, setting them to 25,000 feet. In a minute or so their lives would depend on the accurate settings above sea level. Most of them also glanced at the small compasses attached to their left wrists. This pair of simple instruments were the only devices that would assist them in the long glide down to the sea, and what they had dubbed Operation Win. "Prepare for stick 1. The pilot's voice filled the jump master's ears, and he signalled for the first group of 10 men to stand by. They walked steadily toward the open doors at the rear of the aircraft, their gliders moving above them smoothly on the twin tracks of rail. "All sticks stand by," the pilot said. Again the jump master signalled, and the further 2 groups of 5 men took up their places. "Stand by, stick 1. Stick 1, go." The jump master's hand came down, and the first 10 men launched themselves at 10-second intervals into space. The Hercules banked sharply to the left. "Stand by, stick 2. Stick 2, go." Another signal, and 5 men glided down toward the film of darkness below as the Hercules banked right. Stick 3 went out smack on time at the jump master's signal. The cargo doors closed as the aircraft turned and climbed steeply, heading back to its secret home. The hang gliders fell away, dropping for 1,000 feet or so until the wings bit into the air and their pilots shifted their bodies so that they slowed, made contact with other members of their particular stick, then, in a loose formation, began to glide toward the first streaks of dawn below. The men's bodies seemed to hang motionless in the thin air, and